the actual unit, I guess, rusted up on the inside. That's why I can't bleed the right front caliper, so I can't get any fluid to come out. And that's the old one right there. This is the used one that I bought from eBay for 50 bucks. So this should be it. How do the brakes feel?
Kind of squirty now.
A little bit? Really? Sure? Brake? And here it is, going for a test drive. Let's see what it's all about. The test drive was good. The clutch is a little short, but that's expected as it's brand new. Everything's cool. The exhaust sounds really good, no leaks. But I still have to break it in, so that'll happen soon. Hopefully the body shop will do the touch-ups that they promised. They said they would, even though it's now been 2 years and a little more. Wow. So we can see there, this was the problem area. Wasn't getting any pressure to this caliper, so now that's good. Brakes are doing what they're supposed to do. And today is actually the 28th of March. Put the car together and won't look like a mess anymore. Converting to Super Strut, I never actually had the ABS sensors, so I bought these used, hoping they're going to be good and the light for the ABS is going to go off. This is the way they're mounted. These M6 by 1.0 bolts that are used to mount the fenders. Right here is actually capped off, so obviously all these components were modeled around the ST205 chassis, and then this last piece here goes up to this mounting point. I put the little plastic tab here that accepts these type of screws, so that's pretty much it. And then the brake line is something I would like to do, but the setup is pretty expensive. I think it's like $120 for just the front right and front left, and then I'd have to like change this mounting point, I think cut this off and then tap a new hole. So it's a little different, but I'm not going to go through the hassle of setting that up. Do a custom battery tie down, since I do have the Miata battery, and it is a little bit smaller to save some weight. I bought this flat bar, 1/8 of an inch thickness by 2 inches wide. So I'll drill 2 holes here. Put these J hooks, these are 25 centimeters in length, but it's going to be gonna chop a little bit off of it so it's not sticking out so much, and that should yield a good result. It is just how I imagined it. I got the idea from Menwork, so I didn't mention it before. They're a Facebook group, and they do some custom parts for the GT4. It works just fine. It holds it all in place. Nothing's gonna move around, not like before, the little cheap plastic one I had. So one thing is I'm having a leak that's going on to the passenger side axle inner CV boot. If you can see the wetness there, I can't tell if it's fluid from the power steering or it is an oil leak. It shouldn't be an oil leak because I did seal up everything. But it's day 257 of quarantine. Still working on the Celica. No, I'm just kidding. It's today's the 15th of April, so just one last diagnosis to finish up this brake issue. What I did was I swapped the right side caliper to the left side caliper and the left side caliper to the right side caliper. It's a bit of a hassle setting this up. I had to put some wood in between and bungee it, and mounting the soft line was a little bit difficult because it tends to want to twist to its original shape. If I am able to bleed this side but not bleed the left side, which is where the right caliper is at now, then I know my issue is in the caliper. But if I'm still able to bleed the left side where the right caliper is at now, then I know my issues in the master cylinder. On a side note, Advix took over a lot of the ASIN products. If you go to ASIN aftermarket website, you type in brake master cylinder for the Celica ABS, it shows the brand called Advix. You can see it on Rock Auto, a couple other sites, but not too many people have them. So that's about 80 bucks, same price that I paid for the Ray Bustles unit. So just an FYI, since the products are made in Japan, Advix is a Japanese company. The issue, watch. All right, go ahead and pump, dude.
How many times?
3 times on hold. And now he's gonna hold it for about another 10 seconds. And this stream of bubbles is gonna come out like it's happened when I had this caliper on the correct side. See that stream of bubbles? It doesn't go away. The caliper is not leaking in turn from the seals on the outside. 8, 1009, yep, doing the same thing again. I'm boarding the caliper. It's the 5th of May, and this open circuit relay connector was open on these sides, so whoever did the wiring didn't bother replacing it. So I'm replacing it now, but kind of dismantled and destroyed the original one because I didn't know I had to pull the clip all the way out. But besides that, this is one I got from the junkyard. Pretty sure I have the brake issue resolved. I replaced the master cylinder with an OEM known good one. My friend bought a new one, and then like 4 or 5 months later, he decided to go to non-ABS. So on the test drive, it was good for the first 2 high-speed runs. And on the 3rd one, I started losing pressure, and then I noticed it was seeping from this line. So I thought I damaged the double flare, but it turns out I just had some debris in there. I cleaned it up, and it seems to be holding all the fluid in the system. We'll see what happens when I go on the test drive. Then in order to check ABS codes, because I have a light that came on, it's supposed to ground TC and E1. Means that you're supposed to ground the ECU, and it'll flash the codes on the gauge cluster. But grounded the body side and I'm able to count, but I think I'm just gonna manually reset it, pumping the brakes at a time, and then see what I get for a code. Then I had to, for some reason, tap this hole here for the lift support. This piece right here is the correct locking mechanism, but now it's even worse than before, because before at least I could hold the inside unlatching mechanism and then have someone go to the back and open it. And the same with this one, I could open the key while having it in the open position. I could open it, but now it's even worse because I can't do either. I'd have to literally crawl from the inside of the car, push this here, and then push up on the trunk, and then it'll open. So if you guys have any ideas what it could be. Notice the codes that I got for the ABS system was showing the rear right, and I checked the whole continuity of the system, even the sensor, and everything was fine. So I knew I had to be the ECU, because even when I plugged in the original McPherson ones, because the super short ones that I bought were showing no continuity, unfortunately, I got different codes for the left rear. So I knew it was something with the ECU throwing it off. So I replaced it. It's good. ABS works. No more lights. One thing that has been covered on the forum is your fuel filter. You're actually going to need an ST fuel filter. This is the original fuel line which feeds to the rail. This is the Beams one, and this is technically ST/Beams fuel filter. And that's the only way to get it to meet up and not be too far. So this is how the shop cut the fenders for the holes to fit the side markers, since these were USDM. Well, one of them was an original one, and then the right one was a Taiwanese fender, which actually has good fitment. But yeah, hopefully the side markers don't pop out. June 27th, I just picked it up from the shop. They had to repaint the lip, and they did 3 clears on the hood. You can see it's super shiny, so it looks very nice. Like I said before, it had to be painted, so it came out nicely. So you can see the shine from there. So I'll be putting on. I had to cut into the rubber seal just so I could fit this clipper here, because I tried this super clear silicone gasket maker that's used to make the seal the window for the front with rubber, but that didn't work, and neither did double-sided tape and 3M stuff, so I just cut a little slit and put this clip on here. Left low beam was actually one I replaced when I bought the car 9 years ago, and it's been like 52,000 miles around there, and there's a little bit of rock chips here and there if you can see them. And then this is the opposite end, which was, can't remember if you bought them all these brand new, but there's a little bit of rock chips here. But I mean, the light's very durable. You might even be able to put like that 3M clear stuff that they use on the bumper and the hood and sometimes on the fenders, so you might be able to get away with that, but this is the way I'm doing it with this one. So orients like this with a little tab on top for the left side. This is what they look like. I put double-sided Gorilla Tape here and the long strip here. It's holding it in place. You don't really need anything much more than that. This stuff I bought from O'Reilly's, and it's $7, so it's really good. You don't get that much, but you really don't need that much for these headlight covers. And you can just see it's still shiny, still glares. You just got to make sure you clean everything right. Isopropyl alcohol. So you can see just a little bit of difference in the shine. But these were $70 plus tax, located Anaheim, California. Nonetheless, looks good and will protect your headlights. Alright, so I was applying the molding for the side skirts, and make sure you get the one that is color coded to your chassis, and you're supposed to start all the way at the edge. You can see the little slits it has. Don't know why this one's here, but these obviously help with applying it so that it forms a lot easier. And actually I came up short when I was applying. This was the first one that I did because I didn't bother stretching it out, even though I did lay these out straight as possible a few days before I put them on the side skirts, just so that it wouldn't be all twisted and bundled up. But with the other one, even though I left it out in the sun, it didn't really help the rubber or the molding stretch out, so I actually ended up stretching it too much. So the excess from the right side skirt I actually just applied on here. And the rear spats don't actually come with one. There's no part number for it. So the 15th of August, around 11:20 right now, it's about 88 degrees. I'm not gonna work through the middle of the day, probably take a break. But this kind of forced me to do what I'm about to do, is painting the calipers and the caliper brackets. It's the color that I've been wanting to do. In a way, I misdiagnosed and thinking that the caliper was bad, so when I replaced it with its Raybestos, I thought it came painted, but after one car wash I noticed it already started rusting. So I saw this color, this gold color on an RSX in person. I thought it was pretty cool, and you have the clear there, but I think I have another can coming because some people said it takes 2 cans to do all the calipers and the brackets. I have these StopTech MR2 pads, which are needed because the Super Strut caliper bracket is a little different than the US McPherson one, and the original rotors had a lot of ridges in them and a pretty big lip, so that could be the possibility. I asked my shop foreman, he said that could be a possibility for the brakes pedal, feeling that sinking sensation at high speeds. So these are SS3 rotors. They have a different part number, even though they're the same diameter and width and all that good stuff. And then I've got these when I picked up the SS3 axles along with the calipers and the caliper brackets. So I'll get to this right now.